Hello there, and a warm welcome to the channel. Are you, or is a man you care about, finding that trips to the bathroom are becoming a bit too frequent, especially at night? Maybe you're noticing things just aren't flowing like they used to? Well, you're certainly not alone. Did you know that by age 60, about half of all men experience some symptoms of an enlarged prostate? And that number jumps to around 80% for men over 70? That's a whole lot of us. Now, what most folks, and sometimes even what we tell ourselves, is that this is just a normal part of getting older, something we just have to put up with. But I'm here today to tell you that while prostate enlargement is common, living with bothersome symptoms doesn't have to be your new normal. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk plainly about the top 5 warning signs of an enlarged prostate, what they really mean, and most importantly, what you can do about them to maintain your comfort and your independence. Today, we're focusing on a condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. That's the medical term for an enlarged prostate. It's benign, meaning it's not cancer, and it doesn't make you more likely to get prostate cancer, which is a really important point to get out of the way right up front. You can have BPH and prostate cancer at the same time, but they are separate conditions. Our goal today is to help you recognize the common signals your body might be sending you. We're going to count down the top 5 warning signs, explain in simple terms why they happen, and discuss some straightforward action steps and when it's a good idea to have a chat with your doctor. You'll definitely want to stick around for number 1. It's a real game changer for many men's quality of life. The information we're sharing is grounded in guidance from reputable health organizations like the National Institutes of Health and the Mayo Clinic. Now, just a quick reminder before we dive in. This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult with your personal physician or a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. All right, let's get started with our countdown. Okay, kicking off our countdown at number 5 is frequent urination. This isn't just about going a bit more often. It's that feeling like you just went, and not long after, maybe less than 2 hours, you're feeling the urge to go again. So what's happening here? Well, your prostate gland sits right below your bladder and surrounds the urethra. That's the tube urine flows out of. Think of your urethra like a garden hose. As the prostate gets bigger, which it tends to do as we age, it can start to squeeze that hose. This is because the prostate goes through a second main growth period starting around age 25 and continues for most of a man's life. If the hose is squeezed, it can prevent your bladder from emptying completely each time. So if your bladder isn't emptying all the way, it naturally fills up again faster. And boom, you're headed back to the bathroom. This can be a real nuisance, can't it? It can interrupt your day, make long car rides a source of anxiety, or have you constantly scouting out restrooms wherever you go. Now, one thing to consider, with your doctor's okay, of course, is managing your fluid intake. It might seem obvious, but try not to drink a lot of fluids all at once. Spread them out over the day. And it can be particularly helpful to reduce fluids for a couple of hours leading up to bedtime or before you know you'll be out for a while. Also, be mindful of things like caffeine and alcohol. These can act as bladder irritants for some folks, making you feel like you have to go more often than you otherwise would. So when should you talk to your doctor about this? If you notice you're consistently needing to urinate, say, every 2 hours, or even more frequently during the day, and it's genuinely impacting your daily routine or your peace of mind, that's a clear signal to have a chat with your doctor. Now, related to not emptying properly, let's talk about what happens after you think you're done. That brings us to number 4. Coming in at number 4 is that nagging sensation that your bladder isn't completely empty, even right after you've finished urinating. You've gone. You think you're done, but there's still that lingering feeling that there's more in there. This ties back directly to our garden hose analogy. If that enlarged prostate is putting a clamp or squeeze on the urethra, it makes it tougher for all the urine to get out. Your bladder muscle might be working harder, contracting to push the urine, but it just can't overcome the obstruction completely. As the prostate enlarges, it presses against the urethra, and the bladder wall can become thicker and eventually may weaken, losing its ability to empty fully. This isn't just an uncomfortable or annoying feeling. It can actually be a setup for other problems down the line. When urine sits in the bladder for too long because it's not emptying properly, it can create an environment where bacteria might grow, potentially leading to urinary tract infections or UTIs. Over time, this retained urine can also lead to the formation of bladder stones if the urine becomes too concentrated and crystals form. So this feeling of incomplete emptying is more than just a minor inconvenience. It's a sign that your bladder might be struggling, and that could have further health implications if not addressed. What can you do? Well, one simple technique some men find helpful is something called double voiding. It's just what it sounds like. After you urinate, wait a few moments, relax as much as you can, and then try to go again to see if you can empty out a bit more. It doesn't work for everyone, and it's not a cure, but it's a simple, no-cost thing to try. When should you flag this for your doctor? If you consistently feel like you're not getting it all out after you urinate, it's definitely something to bring up with your healthcare provider. They can perform tests, if needed, to see if your bladder is indeed retaining urine and help determine why. So we've talked about going often and not feeling empty. But what about the stream itself when you are going? That takes us to number 3. At number 3, we have a change in the flow itself, specifically a weak or interrupted urine stream or a stream that starts, then stops, then starts again. You might remember a time when your stream was strong and steady, but now it seems to have lost its oomph. Again, picture that enlarged prostate squeezing the urethra, that garden hose we talked about. If the passage is partially blocked or narrowed, the flow of urine just isn't going to be as forceful as it once was. It's like kinking a hose. The water still comes out, but not with the same pressure. You might find it takes noticeably longer to empty your bladder, or you might find yourself straining a bit, having to push to get the stream going or to keep it going. This can be pretty frustrating and certainly time-consuming. You might feel like you're spending ages in the bathroom, just waiting for things to happen. And sometimes, this weaker, interrupted flow can lead to dribbling after you think you're finished, which can be embarrassing and inconvenient. So when is this a sign to see the doctor? If you've noticed a significant and persistent decrease in the force of your urine stream, or if it's regularly starting and stopping, or if you find you consistently have to push or strain to urinate, these are all very good reasons to schedule a visit with your doctor. Hey folks, if you're finding this information useful and it's resonating with you, do me a small favor and hit that like button down below. It really helps the channel reach more men who could benefit from this information. Thanks a bunch for that. All right, from a weak stream, let's move on to a sudden, strong urge. That's our number 2 warning sign. Our number 2 warning sign is sudden urinary urgency. That intense, almost overwhelming need to urinate that's really hard to ignore or postpone. It's like 1 minute you're feeling perfectly fine, and the very next you've got to go, and you mean right now. Why does this happen? Well, as the bladder consistently works harder to push urine past that enlarged prostate, it can become more irritable or overactive over time. Think of it like a muscle that's being constantly overworked and strained. It can get a bit twitchy and overly sensitive. Because of this increased irritability, even a small amount of urine accumulating in the bladder might trigger that strong, urgent, gotta go now signal from your bladder to your brain. This kind of urgency can really impact your freedom and your confidence. You might start to worry about being caught out, perhaps when you're driving, in a meeting, or enjoying an outing. It might make you hesitant to go places where you're not absolutely sure about quick and easy bathroom access. It can be quite stressful and lead to a fair bit of anxiety. In terms of action steps, again, watching your intake of caffeine and alcohol can sometimes help, as these are known bladder stimulants that can exacerbate urgency. Some men also find that trying to stick to a timed voiding schedule, for example, making a point to go to the bathroom at regular intervals, say every 2 to 3 hours, even if you don't feel a particularly strong urge at that moment, can sometimes help manage that sudden urgency. But this is something you'd want to discuss with your doctor to see if it's appropriate for you. When is it time to talk to your doctor about urgency? If you're frequently experiencing these sudden, overwhelming urges to urinate, especially if it sometimes leads to leakage before you can make it to the restroom, or if it significantly restricts your daily activities and makes you anxious about leaving home, it's a very important sign to discuss with your healthcare provider. There are definitely ways to manage this and improve your comfort. I'm curious, is this urgency something that particularly affects your day-to-day life? Feel free to share general thoughts in the comments below. No personal medical stories, please, but it's helpful for us to know what aspects resonate most with you all. And that leads us to our number one warning sign, one that unfortunately robs many men of precious, restorative sleep. And here we are, that number one, a big one for many, many men, Nocturia. That's the medical term for waking up multiple times during the night, specifically because you have to urinate. We're not talking about just once, but 2, 3, or even more times a night. So why does this happen so often with an enlarged prostate? Well, it's often a combination of the factors we've already discussed. If your bladder isn't emptying fully during the day, that was our sign number 4. Or if your bladder has become more irritable and sensitive, like we talked about with sign number 2, these issues don't just magically disappear when you lie down to go to bed. That residual urine or that jumpy bladder can easily wake you up. Plus, for some individuals, body fluid distribution can change when you lie down for a prolonged period, sometimes leading to increased urine production by the kidneys overnight. An enlarged prostate just makes it that much harder for your system to handle that nighttime urine volume without constant interruptions. Getting up 2, 3, or even more times a night can seriously disrupt your sleep. And we all know from experience how a lack of good, consolidated sleep affects everything else. Your energy levels the next day, your mood, your ability to concentrate, even your overall physical health. It's not just a minor inconvenience. Chronic sleep disruption due to nocturia can have a real ripple effect, impacting your overall health, your vitality, and your well-being. This isn't just about being tired. It's about potentially compromising your body's ability to rest and repair, which is crucial as we get older. What can you do about it? A key tip here, and it's a common theme, is to limit your fluid intake for a couple of hours before you go to bed. This is especially true for alcohol and caffeinated beverages, which can act as diuretics or bladder irritants. Also, if you happen to take diuretic medication, often called water pills, for another condition like high blood pressure, it's a good idea to talk to your doctor about the best time of day to take it. Sometimes, taking it earlier in the day rather than in the evening can help reduce nighttime urination. When should you absolutely talk to your doctor about nighttime urination? If you're regularly waking up 2 or more times a night to urinate, and it's consistently leaving you feeling tired, unrested, and affecting your daytime functioning, please make an appointment to talk this over with your doctor. Good quality sleep is far too important to your health and happiness to lose. So those are 5 key warning signs. Recognizing them is the first important step. So there you have it. 5 important warning signs that might indicate an enlarged prostate is affecting you. Frequent urination, that persistent feeling of not emptying your bladder completely. A noticeably weak or interrupted urine stream. Those sudden and urgent needs to go. And, of course, those disruptive nighttime trips to the bathroom that steal your sleep. The main thing to remember is that while an enlarged prostate, or BPH, is indeed very common as we men get older, living with bothersome and life-limiting symptoms doesn't have to be an accepted part of aging. You are certainly not alone in this. And the good news is there are many ways to manage these issues, from lifestyle adjustments to medications and various procedures, all aimed at improving your quality of life. Recognizing these signs early, and, most importantly, having an open and honest conversation with your doctor is absolutely key. It's not about being over the hill or just getting old. It's about taking proactive charge of your health and your comfort. Sometimes, even small conversations with your doctor can lead to relatively simple solutions or management strategies that can make a huge difference in your daily comfort, the quality of your sleep, and ultimately, your ability to enjoy life to the fullest without constantly being tethered to the nearest restroom. There are treatments that can help you regain control and reduce the impact these symptoms have on your life. Thank you so much for tuning in today, gentlemen. I genuinely hope this information has been helpful and, above all, encouraging. Take good care of yourselves, stay informed, and always remember, your health truly is your wealth. If you found value in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel for more health tips and information designed to help you live well and thrive in your golden years. And don't forget to share this video with a friend, a brother, your father, or any man in your life who might benefit from hearing this information. You never know who you might help. Here's to your health,